Hello and welcome to Adventures with Yarn. This is my knitting and crochet podcast where I will also talk about other crafts that I like to do as well. I'm Louise, I'll be your host, and if you are a new viewer, welcome. If you have seen my other two podcasts, welcome back. I'm very glad that you have returned. And if you guys would all please subscribe, that would mean the world to me. Down below, maybe a like, if you feel like it. But that would be really much appreciated. Today, I thought that I might introduce you guys to a little someone special in my life. This is my fur baby, Houdini. Houdini. Houdini the Chihuahua. Yeah, he is a Chihuahua. Sometimes he acts like a cat. Sometimes he looks like a rat. And right now he is just being very camera shy. I brought something that might entice him. Look at this toy. It's a dog toy that looks like a little knitted hat. Really cute. Houdini. Oh. It is crinkly. Houdini, you're not very good on camera. He's just gonna be shy and scared. But anyways, I thought that I might introduce him and show him. Was thinking that he'd be more cute. Maybe if I put this over here. Houdini. Houdini. Anyways, so this is Houdini, my little fur baby. He makes a very good traveling companion. Just a good little pal to have around when I am hanging out, knitting. We hang out together. He usually cuddles in the blanket, just kind of snuggles me while I'm knitting. Occasionally, if I'm making something like a great big old blanket or something, it's really cute as I make the project and it kind of starts like overflowing into my lap. He'll try to snuggle on into that, and that's really cute. And then it just depends if I have to kick him out, because if it's for someone I don't want dog hair on, but if it's for someone in my immediate family, they got dogs too. They'll get dog hair on it. So we're okay there. All right, Houdini, you can be released. So anyways, I know in my previous podcast that I may have mentioned that I don't ever make things for myself. I realized that besides my little amigurumi crochet things that you can see behind me, I do own two objects, literally two things, and this is one of them. And I quite like this great big old infinity scarf. Once I learned how to knit in 2012, I was intrigued by the biggest knitting needles that I could find. I mean, why not? In the store, and those are, I think, size 25 needles. They're also known as speed sticks. They're really big. Man, I should have brought them. But they're really big, and they produce things like this. I mean, this is just straight up garter stitch over and over and over. And because of the yarn being so bulky and the sticks being so big, it makes this really big loose thing, and you just whip it up speedily with your speed sticks. Whip it up, and that year I just went nuts. I think this is Lion brand, really bulky yarn, and it was cheap. Just got it in Walmart, came in a bunch of different colors, and so I just made these huge scarves for like everyone, and even for myself. And so I know this color may not be the best on me, but you can't go wrong with like a nice mustardy yellow for outfits for fall, and I just really enjoy it. But anywho, on to actual crafting as well. So this week I actually have a finished object to show you, and it is the photographer hat, and I was working on this last week, and it's done. When I hold it up just like this, it kind of looks funny because of the brim being so snug. When I was finished, I was like, what did I make? Did I make like a hat or a golf club cover? Like, it looks like those things that you would like put on your driver of your golf clubs. Anyways, but I I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I was afraid that there would be some color pooling and it might look strange, especially once I started the decreases up on the hat, that they might contrast the nice stripes that turned out in this brim, the ribbing of the brim, but I think it turned out great and it feels really nice. So this yarn is something I bought in the specialty yarn shop, and it is Manos del Uruguay is the brand, and in their worsted yarn, Alegria Grande, and the color is called Acero. And so these colors particularly stood out to me for someone, and so I made this hat for them for Christmas. This is intended to be kind of a hipster hat for a hipster girl. Maybe I could show it to you. It is really nice and snug down here. I have a feeling she's gonna flip it up, but shouldn't have to. Really nice and snug. And then it just has this little bit of slouch in the back. So that is that. The photographer hat. Very nice how that turned out. So that is my finished object for this week. I wish you guys could feel this. It's very nice, kind of a nice buttery yarn. It's really nice. It was really pleasant to work with. So on to my whips, works in progress. I'm gonna whip out my little project bag here. I have this next thing I'm going to show you in my cheap little project bag. That's literally what it's called, pretty cheap project bag. This little bird here. I got this for Christmas. I asked for it for Christmas out of the Webs magazine, and I got it. So I mentioned last week that I started a mystery knit along. It's like a mystery blanket knit along, and so what that means is that the designer who is making this, this is coming from the blog Ola Lana. It is a mystery knit along. So in this case, it's called 12 Blocks for Christmas. And the designer puts out a pattern for a block or a square of a pattern each week, and you knit it up, and in the end you'll have 12 blocks or 12 squares, excuse me, and then you can attach them and make a blanket. And my plan is to do that. So I still haven't finished the first square. This is how far I've gotten. And this is how far I was last time I showed you at this progress keeper here. So it's still coming along. It's coming along a little slowly. And yes, it is black and textured. So I hope you can kind of see what that looks like. But basically the first square is a bunch of these triangles. And it hasn't been as quick of a knit as I might have hoped for. I think because of it having like a pattern, this particular square having the pattern of all these triangles, you know, every row is different in, you know, purl 3, knit 5, purl 3, and then the next row, purl 1, knit 7. And so I'm always having to look and check and look at the chart and do it. It's not bad though. It's nice knitting to do after I get off work. And I don't have a lot of time after I get off work because I work 12-hour shifts. but I am making just a little bit of time in the evenings, time for me to put my feet up, which is always a good idea if you have time and you're on your feet a lot, like I am, and maybe some of you are at work on your feet all the time, and you get swelling in your ankles. Just put your legs up, just lay down for a little bit and put your feet up, and knit while you're doing it. I didn't show the progress keeper last time, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is so stinking cute. It is a grilled cheese sandwich, and I got this progress keeper from Pitter Patter Polymer, and you can find her on Etsy, as well as Instagram. And it just spoke to me when I saw it. I was like, that is adorable. I need to have it. And when I was figuring out which progress keeper to use for this, I had a choice between the grilled cheese sandwich and a little piece of birthday cake, among a few other cute little things. And I thought, you know, I'm making this actually for my husband. And I thought, in a weird roundabout way, this kind of reminds me of him. It's just that he doesn't really care for grilled cheese sandwiches, but I really, really do. And I really like to come up with like crazy combinations, and I just call it my gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches. I'll like grill up, not just grill, caramelize some onions, grill up some mushrooms, go buy like some fancy schmancy cheese, maybe a few different fancy cheeses, something sweet in there like fig jam too. Oh my gosh. And it is scrumptious. It is like to die for, and I'll make these things and they taste so good, and then I can't wait to show my husband, look, try some, taste some, I'll make one for you too, let's do it. And he would just prefer just the plain grilled cheese, like that's all he wants, not even fancy cheese. He's like, just do cheddar and that's it. And I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? But so that's, in a way, that's kind of why this little progress keeper makes me think of him. He also likes a lot of things black. He's kind of particular about, if he has his choice, things would be all black or space gray or gray. So this blanket is going to use up my stash of all my dark colors, hopefully. Blacks on grays, light grays, dark grays, that kind of stuff. So I will keep working on that, and hopefully I will have a nice knitted blanket. It will probably be more the size of a throw, that hopefully I will have in time for Christmas to give him. Okay, so anyways, on to the next work in progress. I'm gonna take a drink of my mug real quick. Okay, so the next project is the Night Shift Cowl. This is by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits. Hope I'm saying that right. This, before I show this to you, let me talk a little bit about it. This Night Shift Cowl is something I saw on Ravelry. And it is a pattern that you can purchase, and it is really lovely, and I very much have enjoyed seeing all the different night shift cowls that other people are making on Instagram and on Ravelry. And you don't even have to necessarily buy the super expensive yarn that the pattern actually suggests, which I'm sure that would ultimately make the best quality product though if you did. But if you don't want to spend that much money, you can use other kinds of yarn too, and it's really interesting seeing other people's yarn choices. And since I have been seeing people's yarn choices, I really have started to question my own yarn choices. A lot of people just have made really beautiful dark fall colors, and they've just been really lovely. I had this wild notion to use these bright sparkly colors, and I'm a little bit nervous about how this is turning out. It's going to be a little wild, so just brace yourself. I just, you know, here we go. My night shift cowl so far is a little wonky. The shape is supposed to be this way, but we have started out with the tonal coral and the teal sparkly yarn, and then it kind of shifts on over to some brown sparkly yarn, and then from there we switched from the tonal coral to more of a variegated coral base. So you can kind of see it just kind of looks like the coral kind of fades, but then also with the teal sparkly yarn up here. If you want to see all the yarn that I chose, I won't whip them all out, but on my previous podcast you can see I show each ball of yarn, and in theory, to me, when I had each ball of yarn together, I thought, oh, these look good, this will look good. In practice though, it's just kind of, it's out there. It is out there. But you know, the person I'm making this for is very bold and bright and sparkly, you could say, in her way. So I think I'm just gonna keep going for this and see how it all turns out, because I think when you wear this anyways, it will be this big asymmetrical triangle shawl that you'll kind of will wrap around and have kind of the bib effect, a triangle in the middle, and this part won't even be seen that much, so we still have potential of how things will end up looking, but I think in the meantime it's just fun and bright and sparkly, just so in your face. I guess it's just so out there. I did acquire this little progress keeper, a little piece of pumpkin pie. And I also, this is also from Pitter Patter Polymer, and I just couldn't resist. It's just like a tiny piece of pumpkin pie. That is adorable. Makes me think of Thanksgiving, and I am both thankful for the recipient of this night shawl that I'm making this for, night shift shawl that I'm making this for, but also to give myself a reminder that even though I'm working on other projects, I better dang well get this done by Thanksgiving if I'm going to stay on schedule for Christmas knitting. So that is why I have that right there. Oh, cutie. Anyways, so, oh, I also forgot to mention that this pattern, it's took me about this long to, I think, finally memorize the pattern. And it's nice because the farther each row that you go, on the right side, you're always making one. So I definitely have make one right stitch, like, down. It used to be that I had to, you know, try to remind myself between make one right, make one left. This is gonna sound silly. For me, I try to remember if it's make one right, since you have to put the needle from the back to the front, I say right back to the front. We're going right back to the front. So make one right, back to the front, make right back to the front. And then for left, I usually think that, I think about, I get this visual in my head. I'm starting to realize that I'm a very visual learner, visual person. But I think about like kids leaving their bicycles and tricycles out in the front lawn that was left out front. Oh, your bike got stolen because you left it out front. Okay. Hope that didn't hit a little too close to home for some. But when you make one left, you're going front to back. So left one front when you insert your needle and put it up on the needle to make one. Anyways, that's how this thing gets its shape, because on the right side, there's always a make one on this end over here. And so it ends up being so that every other row is an increase, and so gradually the rows are getting longer and longer. You're doing the same kind of pattern. There's lots of slipping yarn, so that's how you get the little spots, and it's really fun. This is a really fun, pleasant knit. I can definitely see how people say this is an addictive knit, because I am already getting inspiration about other types of yarn colors to use for the next night shift cowl. So there very well may be a few of these being made this year for Christmas, because this is fun. Anyways, Okay. So I think that is all that I have to show you as far as works in progress and objects. I do want to talk about something. I have been watching Caroline of the Knitting Vicariously podcast. She's also referred to as Dunder Knits. And when I heard that she was doing a knit along, I was very much intrigued, almost a little disappointed that I already started a knit along right before. So as if I'm actually obligated. I mean, I can knit what I want. I'll knit what I want. But she is doing a Blame Dunder knit along. And basically, she put this idea out there that to do a knit along that you have wanted to do but just haven't done. So a project you've wanted to do but just haven't done. And to just do it. To just throw caution to the wind, just do it. Which sounded intriguing and sounded so like liberating, but it also sounded freaking terrifying. I'm thinking like, how can I just cast on what I want when I have all this Christmas knitting to do? And you know, am I gonna beat myself up if I don't have like a knitted object for every single person in my family? Which is sadly a sad mindset to be in. Like, I mean, I need to bust out of those constraints, right? But I thought, you know, let's give it a go. Let's just do it. And, you know, I've never knitted myself a sweater. I've only made baby sweaters. So that is something definitely on my to-do list. And I started doing a little bit of research on some patterns, thinking about the type of yarn that I would want, how much I would need, how much it might cost. It's kind of costly. Definitely more money would be spent to buy yarn to knit a sweater than to just go out and buy a sweater, it seems. But hey, that I think is the part of what's going to make this sweater special, besides all the time that it's going to take, and hopefully when I make it, I will make it correctly and it will fit. But I have my sights set on a particular few patterns that I might do, and then I thought, well, what kind of yarn am I going to get? It's going to need to be something really nice and special, because this is a very special project for me. I will be the recipient for once, or maybe literally the third time. As it just so happened, Amy Florence from the Stranded podcast, she also dyes yarn. She has yarn from, it's called Stranded Dye Works, I do believe. She had a 3rd anniversary of her Stranded Dye Works, or maybe it was of her Stranded podcast, third birthday. And so she dropped a shop update, and I learned my lesson. I had previously, the week before, I think, tried to buy yarn from the wonderful and lovely Vine, and I was not able to slip away from work right on the dot. I was 16 minutes late and she was sold out, gone. So this time I made sure, again, it was a day that I had to work, and I said, you know what, I have something to do at 11, so hey buddy, why don't you watch my group, and I will be off the floor at 5 till 11 to be in the break room, ready on my phone when this shop update hits. And guess what? I was, and I did, and I got it. And oh, what I got. It was amazing. And let's just say I did have to just kind of release myself in my brain. I said, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I already know that I'm spending this much money on yarn to buy a lovely, lovely sweater. And guess what? Since Amy is in England, everything is listed in pounds. And things that cost kind of a a good amount of pounds cost even more dollars, is what I learned. But you know, we are just making it work. And I got some really beautiful yarn. I cannot wait until it gets here. I will show you when it does. But I bought a sweater's quantity worth of a really pretty yarn. And the title is called Midnight Sun. And I hope it looks as beautiful as it does online. And then I also, you know, I was there, had to go ahead and get some other things for myself. I've also never knitted myself a pair of socks. Would love to do that at some point. Her yarn is just so pretty and so fun and so cool. So I got myself 2 other skeins of finger weight yarn to make some really lovely socks for myself. So yeah, that happened, and I do really hope that I was one of the first 50 customers. In that case, I may get an extra little mini scheme to celebrate her birthday. We'll find out. But I did spend quite an inappropriate amount of money on yarn. But I figured, you know, that's okay. You know what? We can always blame Dunderknits. She said we could. I will take you up on that. So hashtag blame Dunderknits. That is something that is a thing. Also, what I may also blame Dunderknits for was that whole experience was very liberating, very exciting, ended up snowballing into another similar experience. I was on Instagram and just kind of squirreling around, going down rabbit trails of knitting and yarn and wonderfulness, and I happened across another hand dyer of yarn, and her name is Biff Sugar. I saw her Instagram page, and you should check it out too. And literally, I mean, the yarn literally spoke to my soul, like deep in my heart. Said, that is the color for me. That is the color of my essence. Like, if my spirit animal could be a skein of yarn, it would be from Biff Sugar, and it would be in the colorway called Christmas Eve. Yeah, I will show you later when it arrives. So I bought some of those, maybe one, I think I just bought enough to make some socks, and she has some other really pretty ones too. I will show you those when they arrive, but I'm super stoked. I'm super excited. Sure, I'm super excited for those to come. You know, one good splurge on yarn deserves another. So that happened. And then I thought, okay, now I really need to chill. Just need to calm down, chill. I'm supposed to be using up my stash. But when I use up my stash, then I can make room for more like luxury, nice yarns and that kind of stuff. Okay, so this week I'm excited to keep on working on my night shift cowl, and I will hopefully be getting some yarn in the mail. I will show you guys that later. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like what you see, please hit the thumbs up button but more so, please subscribe, please. I would really love it if I could get some more subscribers. I will plan on posting an episode every Monday, and that is my plan so far. It may change to a different day, but these will be coming out weekly. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely, wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye!